Hello. If you attended the workshop on 7/15/2025 last night, I promised you that there would be a PowerPoint to watch, and we inadvertently forgot to record it. So, anyways, I'm going to go through the whole PowerPoint. It'll be up here for people to watch, and you can always ask questions. I probably am not going to go into the detail that I did last night, but I want to at least get the PowerPoint up and a little bit of explanation to help you guys. And we should be better next week as we get used to this flow. Okay, welcome to 12 step path big book workshop. We are so glad you are participating. Thank you for embarking with us on this great adventure. As Herb would say, buckle up, be prepared to be spiritually awakened. For further or more involved questions regarding the 12 step path workshop, it's a mouthful, Herb case series, workshops, etc., please contact me, Lisa, at 12stepspath@gmail.com. For questions regarding assignments that come from the class, please contact Rochelle at rochellekatz12@gmail.com. And just so everyone knows, I don't look at the chat during the group meeting because I I get too confused. I have ADD, as I said. It's important to say that I am the facilitator, and although I am the facilitator, I'm no one's authority. Only you can get your answers from the inside. I will show you how to go in there and take a peek through the 12 steps, through enlightenment, but ultimately this is in your hands. This has to come from you. Um, it's just totally an inside job. My study of the 12 steps began at a very young age. I was 10 or 12 years old, and I was forced into Alateen due to a very difficult alcoholic living in my home. But I've been a participant and administrator, and I've done all kinds of meetings, almost every meeting that's out there. I don't discriminate against meetings as far as what addiction they work on. I don't identify myself through my addiction. When I do tell people who I am, I say, I am Lisa, as I am, and I am a student of the 12 steps. I do not put anything beside the I am that would negatively describe me, including any addiction. And as life has shown me, when I seem to overcome one, a new one pops up. So this isn't really about specific addictions. This is more about the reason we have the addictions in the first place. We will be using a timer during our meetings, and we want to remind people to try to keep their questions, very focused. And like I said, we're not here for any specific addiction. Our stories that are linked to those addictions are not relevant to the work that we're doing in this workshop. Our focus is on the solution to overcoming our unmanageability in our lives. If you need a meeting where you need to talk about what's going on, and that's completely understandable, it's just not here, but you should find one that helps you. There are meetings all over the country, all over the world, on Zoom, in person. It would be really hard to not find a meeting somewhere, somehow. I'm also not a professional therapist. This is a self-help workshop. I'm just facilitating for you. The opinions that I express are by me, and they're my own. I'm not going to profess to be a professional 12-step therapist. I'm just a student who is on the same ride that you're on and have some different insights that might help you, and your insights will definitely help me. And I'd like you to take a moment to think about the set aside prayer. This was part of the homework to go ahead and set up your set aside prayers. And you can say it along with me. Dear God, please set aside everything I think I know about myself, addiction, the 12 steps, my spiritual path, my brokenness, and especially you, so I may have an open mind and a new experience. Please also do this serenity prayer with me. This is my favorite prayer of all time, of anywhere, of anything. I just absolutely love the serenity prayer. It's literally in frames all over my house in different different shapes and forms, trying to fool people. Not really. All right. So please say this along with me. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So there's no rules in this workshop. Well, please don't be rude to someone else or some obvious rules. But there are no regular rules. There's only suggestions and guidelines. So when I say the homework is, it's up to you whether or not you want to do the homework. You're going to get more out of this work the more involved you get in the work, the more you read it, the more you write stuff down, the more you highlight. It's all going to work to your advantage. It's just a matter of how free do you want to be. And the freer you want to be, the more work you'll put into this. I'm not saying you won't get anything out of it if you don't. I'm just saying you won't get the same results. So there are really only two disciplines in recovery. Yes, this sounds very black and white because it is very black and white. There's no middle ground on this. And I know that a lot of us have been raised or become black and white people who are very diametrically opposed with their answers, but in this case, this is actually true. So you're either coming for to reach your higher power, or you're going to end up going for your addiction. It's one or the other. In the darkness, we're full of fear and we're full of addictions. And the way to get out of that fear and darkness is through the love of the faith of whatever your high power is. It's a light that shines and supports you in everything that you do. God will not protect us from anything. We have free will. That's the basis of the unmanageability in our lives. But we will be supported in everything. It might not turn out the way that we want, but we will be supported. So this is my version of me when I think of Herb and pathetic Herbie. Um, so now that he's on sabbatical, I had to find lost Lisa. And I've been bound by the chains of fear for as long as I can remember. As far back in my childhood, probably 2 or 3 years old, an intense feeling of doom around me that something was seriously wrong. And my life was glum. Um, and I'm walking up to these fears and this darkness, right past the fear, right past the freedom, right past the faith. There it is, right there. And I don't even look over. All I can see is my chains and the fear that they're attached to, and how I'm trying to juggle those chains to keep myself in control. I am the woman in chains. So Bill Wilson is the co-founder of Alcoholics Anonymous, but also the author of the 12-step big book. His first big experience with light did not come on a mountaintop like it's been described. It's actually, he felt like he was on a mountaintop. He was actually in his hospital room where he had about a 20-minute experience, and he felt like he was taken to the top of a mountain. It was a mystical, phenomenal experience, and it forever changed his life. He also expressed that for so long he denounced anybody who had religion or God in their life. He felt like they were just preaching, and he wanted no part of it. And after his experience, he said, "So this is the God of all the preachers." was really amazing. So some people have mountaintop experiences, and some people have very, very simple ones. Mine was very simple. Mine took place in a parking lot. And it didn't just happen at once. I was having spiritual experiences leading up to the events of the night that I'm in this parking lot. And it was during COVID. My husband was on a long binge drinking charade. um, when he when he was driving home from work one night, he crashed and he burned. So not everybody has a mountaintop experience with their first spiritual experience or spiritual opening, spiritual discovery, whatever you want to call it. Mine was a lot less dramatic and existential than Bill's was, as it was not on a mountain. It was in a parking lot of a hospital. It was during COVID, and I was about to enter the hospital because my husband, who was pronounced dead at the scene, was in a drunk driving accident as the driver, and they revived him in the helicopter, and I was needing to go in to the hospital to see if he was even alive. This event was preceded by a string of events that took place over about 2.5 months of very severe drinking, binge drinking, and uh, culminated in the end in this person unbelievably alive. Um, in this moment, I stood in the parking lot, and I didn't know if I even wanted to go into the hospital. I was feeling like I couldn't continue to do this type of marriage. No matter how many Al-Anon meetings I went to, I wasn't coping well. I just didn't feel like this was the place for me, and I decided I was beaten. I was completely beaten at this point, and decided to turn my will and my life over to God in that moment. So although it's not very attractive, um, that moment changed my life forever. Not just the accident, but what happened after the accident. And there were other spiritual experiences that added to my spiritual awakening that just strengthened it. So, what is the difference between an awakening and a spiritual experience? You can put your own ideas down, but the difference is when you're having a spiritual experience, it's like a flick of a switch. The switch goes up, the experience starts, you have the experience, the switch goes down. Spiritual experience. When you have a spiritual awakening, the switch slowly goes on like a dimmer switch. You might not even realize it's happening. I didn't. And it goes up and up. And with each event that is a spiritual experience, I or anyone can get closer to that actual awakening. And what the best way I can explain it is I built this stairway up to where I needed to go eventually with my fear and my darkness. And as those events happened and my control and all of that was weakened, my faith was growing stronger. But then that night in the parking lot, I made that turn that they talk about in the first couple of steps. I turned and decided, I can't live this way anymore. And that's the beginning of my spiritual awakening. I was being awoken, but I will always continue to have awakening because you have to continue. It is a continuous thing. It's like the universe. It started as a tiny spark, it blew up, and it's still, millions of years later, has us on a trajectory towards light. This is no different, just smaller scale. So from the beginning of time, as I said, that speck came out of, you decide, wherever you want to decide that speck came from. And that tiny speck grew into a universe that we are not even able to comprehend. We're not even able to definitively say what came before and what might come after. We don't know what we don't know. We can guess, we can use figures, numbers, mathematics, but we still don't understand. But we take it one day at a time. Today the sun is shining. We take our recovery the same way. We walk up a step, we walk up a step, we walk up a step. Sometimes we rest. Sometimes you go down a step, go back up. It's a stairway, it's up and down. So taking it one step at a time is the only way to go. We physically can't do more than that anyways. It's a stairway. We need the time. We need the time to evolve. And we will continue to evolve till our last breath. That's our calling as human beings. So here we go. We're either choosing to go in the direction of the darkness or choosing to go in the direction of the light and faith. It's always a choice. Fear and darkness, dark acts, dark thoughts, dark feelings, peace at any price type of things. Because we don't know what we don't know, and we can't see what we don't see, but we will know and we will see when we are willing to make a new choice, flick that switch on, make that turn. Turn away from the darkness, turn towards the light. I actually physically turn my body when I need to do this. So this workshop is available to everyone that seeks to feel closer to their source. Our unmanageability is our common factor as humans, no matter our status, color, age, or sex. More often than not, when we seem to get recovery for one of our addictions, another one crops up. And why would you think that is? Because too often people think they can fight their addictions, fight the effects of their addiction, go on a diet, try a new pill, do something different. But we're fighting effects, not cause. The cause of addiction is unmanageability. And the reason we have unmanageability is because we're human. You don't have to be in a 12-step recovery to get this information and have it work in your life. Because this information is about a lack of power, a lack of connection to your higher power. So my turning to the light has been literally a lifetime journey. As I said, I was 2 or 3 years old when I started questioning the darkness and I was seeking the light. I intuitively knew it was there but didn't know the way. I couldn't figure out how to get there. From an abusive childhood to an abusive young marriage with a sex addict and narcissist, my dimmer switch was on, but it was dull as heck. But I had a teeny tiny speck of light, and that was enough to at least ask the tough questions. Just enough courage to not let the darkness consume me. I would also speak more of my search for the light than anything else consuming that much of my thoughts. Nothing else. I was always on a search for my faith. And I tried every church, every religion, so many methods. I just couldn't get there. But I turned that light on. I permanently turned it on after 50 years of trying to control that switch. In that moment in the parking lot, after many foundational moments, I made a final choice, and I chose faith. These are my rose-colored glasses, and I'm seeing the world in a whole different light. So part of the homework assignment was to write your own set-aside prayer. It's a suggestion every morning prayer, and I say mine every morning, and I change the words to express where I need support. It's not a change my life, dear God prayer. That's not what God does. But He supports us in the direction that we're going. Think of it as writing on a blank whiteboard that we need knowledge to do His bidding, a new experience that will take you in a new direction, a new path you weren't even aware was possible. This is radical, transformative change. This is the metamorphosis of the monarch butterfly. This is who I am. This is who we all are. We are not unlike this monarch butterfly. We must also shed our old selves and not bring it around everywhere we go. No, we are shedding it for good. We don't want it back. We can't go back and put our old skin on. We die to our false selves, to our old selves. Did you even know you have a false self? We have the ability to see differently, to change what we know, so we do and be something different, just like the monarch butterfly. The monarch starts out as a caterpillar, a completely different form and shape. They wait in their little cocoon of safety until, for some reason, it's time to leave that cocoon. It's time to move on to the new life, to the new body, to the new light. We are also on that path. And I am the creator of my false self, my ego, also known ego, edging God out. Trying to usurp God's power is remarkably egomaniacal. I broke mine down one boulder by one boulder, rock by rock, and soon it almost began to feel like I was standing in the sand. I built a fortress as a child to protect myself and to control people, places, and things around me. I wasn't safe. I needed a wall. I needed it to be deep and dark and dungeonous. And I can't call it a fortress. Maybe that would make me feel better about it, but it wasn't a fortress. It was a dungeon. But that need is gone. No more hiding from God for me. I thought I was hiding from people, places, and things, but I was actually hiding from God. People, places, and things don't frighten me anymore. My light is a beacon. I survived my dark, protective cocoon, and I've been given my wings. My newly discovered knowledge is the air beneath my wings. The knowledge that fear is not as strong as faith. It has set me free. My chains are gone. I am reborn, enlightened, spiritually awoken, freed from using my addictions, and given the desire to pass this light to the next one in line. That is my purpose. I want to pass this on to anyone and everyone that would listen. This is the most phenomenal way to live your life. Or maybe you would prefer to be in the unmanageability. My definition of self enslaved hell. They say that hell is on earth, and I believe that. It's in our own minds. Bill actually said we enter the world of the spirit in step 10. In step 9, steps 1 through 9 are for dealing with our false selves. We turn, that turn, I love that word. We turn into step 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to God as we understood Him. Given that freedom of neutrality frees us daily, only daily, from our unmanageability. My free will is not free in all areas. And my free will always choose me. It will always support the ego. I don't see it, I won't feel it. I will suffer because of my self will run riot. This happens when I do a step. This is when I do a step 10 spot check inventory. Because whenever I am disturbed, it is always because of myself. Bill calls it self will run riot. I have a hard time saying that. I have to say it slow. So every morning I get up. Oh, I'm suggesting you get up, do a meditation. In the evening, do a review. You start your day in meditation. I happen to have a ping pong brain, meaning meditation is very difficult for me. I'm not even hypnotizable. Um, the review part, the evening part, is much easier for me. And asked I asked my high power for his guidance to do his will. In step 11 in the morning, I ask for guidance and I ask for how my day can be supported. One thing that I'd like you to do is ask yourself, why are you here? You're here out of all the people in the world who didn't show up or didn't come, didn't sign up, don't even know about us. But here you are. You are here having this experience with all of us. Why? Why did you come? What made you be here? No right answers, no wrong answers, just curiosity. Write it down, we'll save it. We'll go over it again. And number 2, what is your primary source of suffering? What's your deal? What makes you suffer? What's causing it? Are you in your self-imposed hell? Are you in a pathetic Herbie situation? Where does your suffering come from? Einstein said no problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it. He's 100% correct. You're a new person each time you do this workshop, which is why Herb K highly recommends using a clean book, meaning this is a clean book. See how clean that is? This is my new book for Herb's class. This is my regular book. And it's pretty written, and so I'm not going to use my daily reader. I'm going to use my new Herb reading book so that I can have a new experience. Even for me, I want to take these experiences and make them new. I don't want to look at my book and have the same outlines and go, "Oh, that's where I'm at." No, I'm not there. That's the past. This is the present and future. So one of the things that Bill says, which I didn't know but I love, is he says to stop and ponder whenever you read a question. You should see the question mark like it's a red stop sign. Stop and think about what you're reading. Do you understand the question? Don't think about the answer. Think about the question. In step 4 will be when we do our soul surgeries. We will go deep. Things will look negative. It may seem negative. Make sure you've read the participant agreement. But also invite your creator to remove your disease of the spirit. It's going to be uncomfortable, but you're going to be supported. And we share our experiences from the big book. That's the information. We need the information. We need to understand it, not just read it or cite it. We need to have the information. And once we get the information, we we need some grace so that we can have a new experience. The new information starts the new experience in motion. It's time for that action to happen with your new information in place. And once the action is implemented, it provides your life with new experiences, different experiences. You're coming to an experience with different information to get you to have a different experience. That's the dynamic process of an experience. We question the question, we think about the question, we find the information, we put it into action, and we have brand new experiences. Simple but not easy. Next question to ponder. Is your life today currently serial suffering? Do you feel like maybe you get somewhere or maybe you get a little headway and then you're just suffering again? And when you look back on your life, you feel like all I've done is suffer? What about the second half? Do I really believe my life can really change? Do you? Do you admit that you are powerless over addiction? Do you believe you can really change? Write about this over the next week. This is very important. So, the 5 deadly Ds. The Russian philosopher Gurdjieff said most human beings are asleep dreaming that they're awake. My first self help book at the age of 17 was by Wayne Dyer. His book was called Pull Your Own Strings, and I bought it because I thought that meant I could control other people and them not control me. But I was fooled. It was a great book. Dr. Dyer became a catalyst in my recovery with his unique outlook on spirituality and changing the course that you're on. He also was a member of AA, which I resonated with. His ideas centered on spiritual awakening and recognizing an inherent connection to a higher consciousness or source. His concept of awakening is central to his teachings, suggesting that people can move beyond a limited dreamlike existence into a more conscious and purposeful one. The concept of living a life where people are asleep dreaming they are awake encapsulates a key aspect of Dyer's message, which was people have the ability to shift their perspective and purposefully create a more awakened and empowered reality. Psychologists have discovered that we all wear self made lenses. We create our own beliefs because we don't see reality as it is. We are the reality from our perspective lenses, as we are. We see it through our perceptive lenses. We cannot see reality ever as it is, objectively, because we will always wear our own lenses and be prejudiced by those lenses. Sometimes we switch lenses. We have a family lens, we have a peer pressure lens, and we've developed delusional thoughts and perceptions because of this. That's the perception is off and they're delusional. Also, from our education and cultures, that's another way that we get these skewed ideas. Whether it's demented or not, even though it usually is, our feelings are formed through this dementedness. We process reality through these from a survival perspective. We had to survive. And the ultimate conclusion is we carry around very negative feelings about our reality, almost like a security blanket. We want and need predictability, control, and power. We don't feel safe. We are very afraid. And addiction and all the mental illnesses that commingle with it form our attitude. What is your attitude? Is it distorted? Does it go along with what's really happening? And then that turns into our attitude, turns into how we behave. Very dysfunctional. But here is what the big book does. And in the fourth step, we work to reverse our behaviors, attitude, feelings, thoughts, and finally perception. This will all go away through the healing of the 12 steps, but especially in the fourth step. So make sure you stick around. Culture and society tell us we need to know something, everything. We just gotta know. We stop there. We know something. But what about how we feel? No, we know first, and then we feel. We put it in our head, and then we put it into our feelings. Once we have it in our feelings, then we do something. Then we're motivated. We're going to do it. We're going to do whatever that is. But we want to do it in the proper order. Our experience should be that we feel something. Then we do something. And that's how we know. Herb would say, my feet tell me who I am. My behaviors tell me where I'm at. Then we'll feel differently. Once I began to wake up, that is where my knowing would flow from. A complete reversal of my prior way of doing things. My missteps brought me closer to the light, each one pushing me closer and closer. I never thought I could live without the fallacy of control. I actually had myself convinced that I was very much in control. I was really good at it. Although, if somebody said to me, you're too controlling, I'd say, I'm not controlling at all. When it came fast. It built on each moment of pain that was turned into light and a lesson. I found the enlightenment was subtle but obvious. All my collective spiritual experiences blossomed into a full blown awakening to the power of no control. That doesn't mean a passive participant. It doesn't matter what I feel, it doesn't matter what I know. When I do differently, then I will think differently. And then I will feel differently. That's the order of recovery. This is a credit to another of my favorite authors, which is Dr. Dan Siegel. In my life, I am the author of the book that I live in. I set the subject, but my higher power makes the edits. So if I get up and decide this is what I'm going to do with my day, I put that out there, and we see where it goes. And I go from one thing to the next, one thing to the next. I don't try to take in a whole day anymore. It's a way of reality, taking a mind and awakening it to the fact that you aren't just a passive participant in life, but can be an active captain of your own ship. This is how you become an author of the own story of your life. You don't walk away from your story and think that your higher power is going to step in and take over. What would be the point? You step in hand and you co-create with your higher power. I'd like you to consider these questions over the next week. Where is your life not working? How effective have your efforts been? Do you really want to change your life? Really, really want to? Because this is a lot of work. Are you sure this is what you want? And if you would like to change, what would you like to see change? Be specific. Ask yourself. How about your thoughts? Are they disturbed? Your feelings? Do you feel them? What behaviors do you display that sicken you? Who's in your life and how does that affect you? What is the invitation? Ask yourself this in the morning when you're having your morning prayer ritual. This sets your intention for the day ahead. And keep notes. And ask yourself every morning, what is my invitation? once heard somebody say to me, "You need to question the answer." And I said to them, "Do you mean answer the question?" They said, "No, question the answer." I do that because I am a seeker. I question everything. I probably annoy people. I've tried religion hopping, books, theories, degrees, certifications, all for answers, my answers, the answers. In and out of 12-step rooms, I try to talk it out, run it out, walk it out, eat it away, fill it with relationships, Mr. Right, children, grandchildren. But then I stepped into the light in a 12-step workshop. How did I miss the mark so horribly? How did I attend meetings for so long and no one talk about just knowing the steps at a deep level or needing them in a crisis, but walking the steps daily, hand in hand with my Creator, to me, is the power I've always needed. I studied the 12 steps, but then I walked away and used them here and there. I invited my higher power into my heart with a vengeance. When worry and fear were trying to bang, when worry and fear were trying to bang my head against the wall, I looked in my heart for the light, my Creator, showed me my misrepresentation of being in control. But there's no judgment. I needed control when I was in horrible situations, or even my false perception of control. If not, the fear would have consumed me, I was sure of it. But in its time, it held me up and I didn't go completely under. So it is not anything I judge myself for. I have always done my best, right or wrong, it was my best. I hope to do my best with you all too, and I hope that you all get something out of this. And please do not hesitate to reach out if you're struggling with any of the concepts that we talk about. Till next week, create a great day. Thank you.